Check on my phone sometimes.
Oh, it should be live now.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Here we are.
Awesome.
Oh, there's Julia.
Okay, so I'm going to share it to the Hawaii Forest Bird Facebook page. Okay, and then we should be ready to go, yeah? All right. Welcome, everybody.
Aloha.
Aloha.
We are doing our new episode. It's episode 8 of our Forest Fridays series, a conversation about the forest of Hawaii. And this is brought to you by KISC and KFBRP, so Kauai Invasive Species Committee and the Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project. And I'm going to just share my screen with the find it. Okay, there. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Awesome. So my name is Julia. I'm with the Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project, and we also have Halen Chalk with the Kauai Invasive Species Committee. Give it a wave, Halen. We will be your hosts and also the backstage crew at the same time today. In previous talk story conversations, we discussed the importance of our forests to watersheds, Hawaii's declining forest bird conversation, Hawaii's declining forest bird populations, and also why the forest is a sacred place for many of us. If you missed these recordings can be found on the KFBRP YouTube channel and also the KISS YouTube channel, and you can watch all of these episodes there. We are also recording this episode today, so be aware of that. So you will be able to rewatch it if you're interested. Joining me today are a whole bunch of really awesome artists, local artists from Kauai that are inspired by our forests. And we are really happy to have all of them here. We are super stoked that they are joining us. And maybe as a short, like small episode, then when we asked, would you like to join us for a forest-inspired Forest Friday where you share your artwork? Many of them said, sure, I donate something. And that was so sweet and so nice of them. But actually what we want to do today is we want to share their artwork, and we want to show you what great artwork they're doing, and also where you can support these artists this holiday season. So we'll be sharing some links to purchase the artwork here online, or if you're on Kauai, then you can go to the local stores. But I would like to welcome today Kehalani Kekua, Ke Ahimanea,
Aloha.
Oli Kayakapu, Kamalani Lovell, Angela Hadley, and Kavika Beats. I have everybody. Awesome. And I'm going to stop the screen share. And we will start with Keahi, Angela, and Halen. Halen, could you spotlight us? Awesome.
All right, and let me just.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start with Keahi Manea. Hi, Keahi. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, you have been such a great supporter of our project for so many years, and we are really, really thankful for you. Maybe a little background on Keahi. Keahi is with the Kaimi Na'au o Hawaii Nei Institute and has been supporting our project for like, I don't know how long, Keahi, a long time. Not only has she created chants about our native Hawaiian birds, she has also written a book about our precious birds, which we will share a little bit later about that. Keahi, can you tell us a little bit more about the book and what inspired you to write it?
Thank you. Aloha awinala kako. He Mo'olelo Pokole is about a boy who goes up to the Alakai in Kokee to see the endangered birds, the endangered native birds. And along the way, he discovers the things that threaten the birds with extinction. After taking Hawaiian language for a long time, I felt like I needed to publish something just to get something out there to help people have another resource to be able to use and read. And I wanted to especially increase awareness and commitment to native bird conservation, especially among students, parents, and teachers of the Hawaiian immersion programs. So I recognize the convergence of opportunities, and it just led me to propose a project to Kauai forest bird recovery people. I was fortunate to have studied advanced Hawaiian language with a very nice teacher, not only nice, excellent teacher, but he was willing to help with translation and help with grammar. There was a Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project employee who was an illustrator who was agreeable to doing a dozen illustrations for the book. And that just all came together, and the book ended up being the project. And it was my desire to donate it to the Forest Bird Recovery Project. And so everything that sells goes to them. I, wrote it, got it illustrated, and produced it, and now it's up to them. So that's what He Mo'olelo Pokole is about.
Yeah, it's a really awesome book. We love it, and we always get good feedback from people. People really like to read about it, and they really enjoy this book. So, and we are very, very grateful for you and for donating your time and all that hard work that you put in. I know it's not easy to write a book.
First time I had ever done it, and it was a wonderful learning experience. I didn't know. I mean, I learned a lot to be able to write it. I learned a lot, so it was great.
Yeah, I'm going to put in a link to Amazon where people can purchase this book, but we also have it available at the Kauai Forest Bird office in Hanapepe, and I guess the second question I had for you, Keahi, is what are some of the goals you have for sharing your art with the world? Not only the book, I know that you've also done a lot of other things like chants and other stuff. And what is the most fulfilling part of creating for you?
Fulfilling part of creating, it continues the relationship that, there's a continued relationship with the conservation community and a continued learning. You don't stop learning. You keep going.
Yeah.
There's more. There's always more.
Yes.
And I feel like so. He Mo'olelo Pokole was published in 2017, so it's 5 years later. And the passage that I want to read today was written at that time, and it just happens to be about Akikiki and the mosquitoes, you know. So that's how long it takes to get from here where you have an idea, maybe we can control the mosquitoes, to, okay, over here, we can actually do something about it. So there's an urgency about it. So anyway.
Yeah, would you like to share some a passage with us?
Sure, of course, I'd love to.
Let me share my screen because
So
I have
Kaylee Chalkowski is the illustrator. She did they're beautiful. Her illustrations are really beautiful. They're just great. So this is Lai'ula. You're looking at him as he sees the mosquito landing on his arm. He's up in Alaka'i. That's the boardwalk in the background. So I'm going to read this part. Yaya e holo ana maluna o ke ala papa o Alaka'i. Lele maila kamakika a ku'u ma kona lima. Ha'i aku o Lai'ula. Aloha e makika. Pu'i wa'au e ike ia o e maluna nei ma Alaka'i. Pane mai o makika. Ai he malihini au. I ka wā mamua, ali hiki au ke lele kahi ki e me keia, e like me keia, a ka mamuli o ka mehana o keia wahi, I hiki a iau ke lele maane I keia manawa. Make au I ke koko ono ka manu akikiki. Kau maha o Lai'ula, a kana e mau kona holo ma ka ala papa. So as he walked along the Alaka'i boardwalk trail, a mosquito landed on his arm. Lai'ula said, "Greetings, Makika. I'm surprised to see you up here in Alaka'i." Makika answered, "Yes, I'm a newcomer here. In the past, I haven't been able to fly to this elevation because this place is warmer now. I can fly here. I like the tasty blood of the akikiki bird." Lai'ula was sad, but he continued along the boardwalk.
Very nice.
So that's Lai'ula.
Thank you, Keahi. This is really a
My
great
pleasure.
book, and we love the book, and we love all your support. Thank you. Okay, with that, I would like to start chatting a little bit with Angela Hadley from Island Art Gallery in Hanapepe, and also Lula, which is it's like more clothing or what?
Clothing and jewelry, mostly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for joining us today. You also have been supporting the Kauai Forest Bird Project for a very long time. In fact, when you go to her store in Hanapepe, she carries a lot of our things, magnets and cards and books, and she has been a great supporter too. So recently, Angela, you have been participating in a portrait challenge, right?
Yes.
And I would like to share. I would like to share my screen again, and let you see what she created for this challenge, and then hear a little bit, hear the story from her about this.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to talk about the painting now?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this came about because every 2 years there is a Schaefer Portrait Challenge, which is open to all the artists of Hawaii. And the goal of it is to paint someone who you feel has made a big difference to your island. So I was hoping to bring attention to the Kauai Forest Bird Project. And I'm not a portrait artist, but as Callie said, well, it's about the birds. So I went, okay, I'll paint the birds. And I have 8 birds around her that are the most endangered right now, along with the ohia. So the painting will now be open for auction, and hopefully, and then that money will go to the project to help support it.
That's awesome. I think it, like I'm still looking at this, all these details. It's really It's very nice. Can you let us know what's written on her shirt?
Well, that is kind of a logo, and it is with the project, and it is a go inquire of the birds.
Mhm.
And I put it on her shirt. I didn't want a big banner on the bottom, but I was hoping people would want to know that. And that is what they've been doing all these years, is following them and what is hurting them mostly, and trying to help out. So.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the motto that we had on our shirts too. So
Right.
what inspired you to do this painting?
Well, because Callie and the whole group there have worked so hard for so many years, and the last few days were quite a good example of what they're willing to do and willing to go through to continue their project. I mean, the weather was horrendous, and I was thinking about them while I'm warm and safe in my house, and they're out, in the heavy rain. So I've been in the same house here in Hanapepe for 20 years. And over that time, I have really noticed the change in the birds here at this elevation. That made me just more aware of it. And every tree that was taken out or plant moved, I would just notice how many fewer birds there were, because there were so many in the past and there's so few now.
Mhm.
And then I became involved with Callie and their project up there. And so I hope the painting would bring attention, and they're all inspiring.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Maybe a follow-up question to that. So you said you would like to inspire people. Like what are you hoping to achieve with your artwork?
Well, with the artwork in general, I have painted for 40 years. I've painted Hawaii for 40 years. I had a lot of experiences with my Hawaiian brother-in-law, who is a musician with the Sons of Hawaii. So it allowed me to be involved in a lot of old hula and old chanting and old timer stories. And I didn't want to see that go away, along with the architecture here, the way people have lived for years, just the whole aloha of the aina, the people, the culture. And that is what I have painted all this time. And it really inspires a lot of stories. When people come into the gallery, they don't just look at artwork and go, oh, I like that, I don't like that. They ask me, well, what is this about? Tell me where this is. And we have long conversations, and people are always saying, thank you for so much information about Hawaii. And it feels good to spread that aloha of the beauty here of not just the land, but the people.
Yeah, thank you for doing it. That I think it's a really important part, that we spread the word and awareness about what's going on, because I think people are really interested once they find out, and they really want to know. Yes. Yeah, maybe we should start a visitor center in Hanapepe where we can display all this information or something like that.
Yes,
Wouldn't
indeed.
that be great? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Angela. I don't know if Helen was able to put the links in the chat. So again, Angela Hadley, she is the owner of Island Art Gallery and Lula in Hanapepe, and you can go and check out her store with a lot of great artwork and jewelry and forest bird merchandise. And hopefully soon we will have some sort of event or silent auction or something like that, where we will also auction off this awesome painting that Angela did of Callie surrounded by the birds. Thank you very much again. Thank you for your
Thank
support.
you. And we do have at least 40 artists in our two shops that are all local, that make jewelry or engrave gourds, weave lahala. And I mean, there's a lot of culture to see here. So I hope to see people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop share my screen and then move over to Helen. Helen Chalk. She wears many hats. Today, she's also wearing her artist hat. Maybe a little information about Halen, born and raised on Kauai. Yeah. She grew up dancing hula and working in the Aina, which drove her to pursue a Bachelor's of Science from UH West Oahu. She has recently joined the KISS team as the outreach coordinator, and Helen has worked at fellow nonprofits such as Waipa, Malama Huleia, and spends her off time volunteering in Lo'i, practicing hula, or making art. And maybe let's hear a little bit about what art she's making. Oh, you're muted.
Aloha, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yes, I am the KISC Outreach Coordinator, and as you've heard, I do a lot of other things. I volunteer a lot of time. And yeah, tonight I'll be talking to you about a fairly new venture that I've decided to pursue. And I'm just going to share my screen really quick. All right, can everybody see that okay?
Let's
Let's
Oh,
see.
yes. Oh, I just
Oh.
lost it.
Now it's gone.
Just a moment. I think I jinxed myself saying there was no technical difficulties.
I know.
I'm the one with the technical difficulties. Okay, got it. All right, so here's a photo of my new brand called Ike Kumu. I specialize in wooden hair picks and hopefully venturing into wooden earrings and jewelry and goods. I was inspired not only by the work that I do and the kind of volunteering that I do, but also just by the beauty of the wood that I have. So my dad actually has a hobby of creating ukuleles that he took up in his retirement. And just seeing the beauty of different kinds of wood, the character that they have, it inspired me to use it as a way to share. Mo'olelo, so Ike meaning knowledge and Kumu meaning tree or source, is all of the designs and the wood that I choose to source has to do with either being native or invasive wood. So I use a lot of mango. I'll try to use albizia or monkey pods sometimes. And then I also have native woods like Milo. And yeah, I'll just go through some photos here. And I really enjoy the idea of having hair picks because hair is very sacred. When you cut your hair, you know, it's usually a transformational time. So by putting your hair up with something that has Ike behind it or has a story behind it, I think is a very powerful thing. So these are some examples of my work that I have been working on. Each of these designs are modeled for the East Side. So they all have a story with them and they come attached with a little mo'olelo about why I designed it the way that I did. And yeah, so that's a little bit about what I do.
Those look awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful woodwork. Yeah. So what inspired you to do that? Like why do this? I mean, you talked a little bit about it already, but
yeah, so I really enjoy working with my hands. I enjoy creating designs and having that creative side. And then also seeing it as a resource. So my father has also made papaku'iai, which are, you know, slabs of wood for making poi and pa'iai. So like creating with wood is a medium of choice that I've learned. And I also just kind of have access to a lot of like a bandsaw and sanding. So I was equipped with these things. So I thought, okay, how can I share mo'olelo of these? So, I mean, for example, let's go to this one. So this design that I had chosen shows as triangles, and there's a reverse triangle that's colored in, and those are supposed to represent the two mountains that overlook Kapa'a and Wailua, so Waiale'ale and Makaleha. And also the reverse is the kind of waters that they hold, especially with the issues with our freshwater sources going on right now. And that's what kind of drove me to create something like this. And then when you turn it on the corner, if you do it like that, then it shows that they're connected.
oh, wow.
And so each one of these designs that I do have a lot of deep kauna that I like to share, and each of them have a story. And that's what I really love. I'm a storyteller. I'm a storyteller slash craftsman slash jujitsu fighter. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get. And then, yeah, so this one is another one. This one represents the grass because there's an Olelo no Eao that talks about how lovers used to kind of hide away in the soft grass of Kapa'a because it used to be a marsh. So it was known for that. So that's what this represents in Kapa'a, is this kind of grassy interweaving design, as well as the mountains that overlook them. And then this one has a little chip with some gold in it. And yeah, each of them have a different story. This one with the little chip and gold in it is because when I was creating it, I was going through a personally hard time, and I believed that I could just cut off the chip, but I realized that, you know, we get broken sometimes as people, and we put ourselves back together and we fill those cracks with gold, and it becomes a part of our character. So yeah, that's what I do. And if you're interested in buying them, they will be at Work It Out next week. Work It Out in Kapa'a. Or
Right.
if you want to contact me directly too.
So I have a follow-up question. So you said all of them have a story. Do you include, like when you buy one, do you include like that story with
Yep.
the artwork? Okay.
Yep.
Like a little piece of paper or?
Yeah, I definitely will. I include a little story about each of the designs and the little characters that come with each piece. I was inspired to do that by Kealopico because I love that Kealopico has a lot of meaning behind their designs. And that's the kind of integrity I'd like to bring to products that I share with people in my life.
It's awesome. Awesome. There is a question from Kehao. She asked Kalu Kalu or Kewa?
Sorry, I'm looking. I'm not sure. Well, okay, how would you like to ask your question? Sorry, I gotta unmute you real quick. Sorry, you're on mute.
No, I was listening to your mo'olelo about the celebrated and very famous grass of Kapa'a, which is non-existent anymore. And so in the chants, one of the references is Kalu Kalu o Kewa. But I don't know exactly where Kewa is, but I know about the Kalu Kalu, so I'm so inspired by your work.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. And see,
Just
and
beautiful.
now I learn new things every time now. We learn
what
from
we're
each
here.
other.
Awesome.
Right?
Yes, mahalo.
We're
mahalo.
here to learn new things, right? Well, I'm here. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you very much, Angela. Thank you very much, Keahi. That was really nice that you shared all that. And I think it's really great to hear from you what inspires you. And it's really good to learn from you all the things that you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Aloha.
Yeah, I'm going to pass the baton over to Helen now.
Yes, and we are going to be moving to our next set of artists. So let me just highlight Kamalani and Holly. All right, and from here on out, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat for Julia, and she will be following up. Also on Facebook, if you're tuning in on Facebook, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave that in the comments and we'll try and relay that to our artists tonight. Okay, so quick gear change. Welcome, Holly and Kamalani. Mahalo for being with us tonight. I'm going to introduce you folks individually, and then we can go through a couple of questions. I'll start with Holly first, and then I'll also be trying to share some photos as well. So to introduce Holly Kayakapu, she is a local Hanapepe girl. She holds value in the power of community. She's also worked at Waipa, same as me. So we have that in common. Let's see, she sees endless potential of art, and these values have led her to obtain a bachelor's degree in visual and public arts from California State University, Monterey Bay. And she aims to combine her interests of the natural world with her artistic skills, which she's doing right now on Crush Street. And She wants to create spaces for both environmental awareness and through visual communication. So mahalo, Holly. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So let's go through some questions. I'm going to try and share some of your art real quick. So to start off, could you tell me what inspired you to create the products that you share now on your website, as well as your markets, and maybe even some of the stuff that you do now with Crush Street?
Yeah, so what really inspired me is I wanted to create artwork that was functional, right? So that would be like the t-shirts. And I wanted the artwork to have an educational aspect to it and become conversation starters. So with the products that I make, really the goal is to create things that can enter the scene of everyday life. And like I said, become conversation starters between people and just create dialogue, but also raise awareness about certain things.
Yeah, thank you. I see we have some photos, if folks can all see that. These are some of her designs, and this is one of my favorites. It's the Extinction Means Forever. Could you tell us a little bit about this piece of art that you put together?
Yeah, so that was the very first screen I ever created in college, and it's been the foundation that I've continued to make designs from and grow my business. And the goal was to really create like a daily reminder, right, for people that extinction means forever. And you've got some of the largest mammals that are critically endangered here on just the planet. So to create that conversation again about, what's happening and remind ourselves of the impact that we can all have.
Yeah, and that's really beautiful, especially here with the forest bird crew. I mean, the term extinction is very commonly used, and I think the message that you have with your art is very beautiful in that way. So mahalo again.
Thank you.
Another question I have is, what is your favorite part of creating? What's your favorite part of creating these products that you do?
My favorite part about creating the products is the connection that it can create between people, right? For me, it would be like the connection I build from me to the viewer or the consumer. And then even as far as to complete strangers, right? Like once they own the product and they're out there in the world wearing it, creates that conversation, right? And they become connected over something that maybe we thought maybe we had no similarities, but that dialogue begins and just making those connections.
Thank you, mahalo. We have another shirt here, which is my favorite that I own from you. It's Love Thy Neighbor. I love it. Talking about birds, love thy neighbor. I really wanted to highlight this one because if it's your first time meeting Holly and seeing it, this is probably one of my favorite things that you've ever done.
Thank you.
And then we also I really wanted to show the sticker that you just created. It says perpetuate cultural practices because you are a generational salt maker from Hanapepe. So your roots really come through in your art, which really inspires me as your friend a lot. And I hope inspires a lot of people that buy your things as well.
Thank you.
And then finally, before we move on to our next artist, what inspires you the most from the forest or Aina to create these pieces, especially with recent pieces?
Man, such a heavy question. Honestly, it feels like everything, right? But I think the forest and Aina, its infinite beauty constantly leaves me in awe. And I hope to have that translated in the work, right? To remind people of the appreciation that we already have for these places and habitants and resources. So to remind us of the appreciation we have and to urge us to respect it and protect it for future generations to come.
Right, mahalo. Yes, and if you have any further follow-up questions, feel free to email Holly. Her website is going to be dropped in the chat. And then you can also check out her shop there, her online shop as well. And if you happen to stop by Crush Street tonight, also go see her live painting.
There's actually a
Come visit
follow-up
us.
question in the chat. The follow-up question is, you ever host private painting parties?
Ooh. I'd be open to it. I don't have a definite answer to that yet.
One day, perhaps one day.
Dropping your links in the chat.
Yeah, so if you guys want to check it out, you can go ahead and look at her full portfolio on her website, thehkexperience.com, or catch her on Crush Street, doing the most and beautifying our Rice Street areas. And yeah, mahalo again for joining us, Holly.
Thanks for sharing all your time with me, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okie dokie. And then we're going to move on to our next artist. This is Kamalani Lavelle. How would you like to say it?
Level.
I knew it was Level. So Kamalani is also a local girl born and raised on Kauai. Her love for the ocean and the hobby of shelling actually inspired her to create the first part of her business, which is Lovely Sea. And I've seen your artwork grow over the years, just from picking shells to experimenting with different necklaces, which I still own from like your first couple of pieces. And then after years of crafting, she was inspired to take up ulana lauhala or lauhala weaving with her kutuahine. I believe she's a master weaver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now she is perpetuating this generational art form with the rest of us, and she is experimenting, and you see some papale in the background, which is an extremely tedious task to do. So I commend you for sticking to it and perpetuating this art.
Thank you. It's amazing. It's amazing art.
Yes. So to round back around to the question, same thing. What inspires you to create the products that you do or to start the business that you have now?
So I've actually like always been like inspired by the Aina and like all it has to offer. And literally like my tutu has been like the fond base of like everything that has inspired me. Like she's gotten me into like the seashells. We all used to go fishing. And then she introduced me to Lauhala. So it's an amazing thing to like get handed over and have her to teach me. So she's my biggest inspiration.
Beautiful. Mahalo. Yeah. And Lauhala is definitely not an easy feat. And of course, Lauhala, if we had a full native forest, I'm pretty sure most of our forest would also have a lot more Lauhala in it, right?
Yeah, there was actually like way back in the day, there was like a bunch of Lauhala forests. Like people, that's what they wanted in their yard. Like you had a house and you were like a famous, you know, up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You have a Lauhala forest in your yard because it was such a useful source.
Yeah. It was used for everything from mats to hats to sleeping
Yeah,
arrangements.
sailboats.
Sailboat, make a sail.
For their farming.
Yes.
Even medicinal uses with the fruit. So it goes a long way. And the leaves.
Yeah, definitely. Another question would be, so what is your favorite part of creating for you? Because I know you've been a busy bee creating all kinds of things recently, especially taking up weaving.
Yeah. Well, I would say I've been really more into like weaving more than making jewelry lately because it's like such a bigger connection from, you know, finding the right tree, gathering the right leaves, and the whole cleaning process. It's like truly, it's amazing. Like you really get like in tune with the plant. And it's like the Aina, you're like one, there's so much mana, like so much of your own mana that goes into all your work. And
Yes.
it's like, yeah.
Especially when you know, you get a bunch of thorns or burns or
Yeah.
it's a labor of love, and a lot of your
It
energy
literally is.
like
And I love it.
literally blood, sweat, and probably skin.
Yeah.
But I only say that because we connected earlier talking about it, because I also weave with my godfather, just trying to learn the art as well. So it's definitely something I can relate to for sure. And then what is something that's the most fulfilling part of creating and also sharing these gifts that you have at market or with your family, or even just showing your tutu, like what you're able to complete? What's the most fulfilling part for you?
I would say that it's just, I'm here to learn the culture and the art, and I'm here to, bring it into the future and it won't die. And it's like
Yeah,
an amazing art. Like, I'm so thankful for it to be passed down to me. It's like one of the biggest blessings ever.
yeah.
It's like so useful in so many ways. It's crazy and it grows. It's a plant.
Definitely, it's beautiful to see the amount of young weavers coming up now. I know there's a couple of
Yeah.
girls on Oahu and Big Island, and to see a younger hui of people taking on the weaving art is so beautiful.
Yeah. It's
And
amazing.
yes, thank you. And if you'd like to see any more of Kamalani's work, or wait for a short moment when something might be available on her website, because I know there's a lot of markets going on, you can go to lovelyc in the chat.com and you can check out her other work. And also, you're going to be at a market tomorrow, right?
Yes, at the beach house.
Nice. And what time are you going to be there?
It starts at 9:00 a.m.
Great. And if you're interested, go ahead and check her out. And do we have any questions in the chat?
I do not see any questions in the chat. Let me hop on to Facebook and look if there's any questions there. Nope, no questions.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Kamalani. That was really
Mahalo piha.
super interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, mahalo, mahalo. All right, let me just go ahead and remove that spotlight real quick. And then we're going to move on to our final round of artists. Let's see here. Great. And now I need to have spotlight myself. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to welcome Kumu Kehaulani Kekua, representing Lavena, Hawaii. She also represents Studio Ha'a. So mahalo again for joining us, Kumu. And then we also have Kavika Beats of Aina Inspired. So mahalo again for joining us, everybody. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. So Kumu Kehau Kekua is the kumu hula of Halau Palaihiva o Kaipai. She also, that is based at Studio Ha'a in Kapa'a. The hula hala was established by her grandmother, the late kumu hula Helen Kaipuvai Kekua Waiau in 1945. And she has found a love of, I believe, silk work, right?
Yes.
And all of her beautiful works are going to be shared with us tonight. And I'm going to hand it over to you. So could you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into this medium?
I've always loved art. I recall my first art form. I spent hours upon hours hanging out in the backyard of my grandmother's home on the Anahula Homestead out here on the east side of Kauai, making lei. And my grandmother was a kumuhula, and my family has been immersed in the traditional practices of hula for generations. And so I was born into it and always surrounded by it. So whether it was music or chanting or dancing or making lei, there was always creative energy around me. And I believe that was my earliest inspiration. I loved to create things. And then when I went to Kamehameha, I took every art class that I could. And I had an amazing kumu and supporter that advocated for me to learn more in different mediums, and that was Calca de Silva. And through him, I learned silk screening, printing, and I've just kind of dabbled in a lot of things. So textile arts is one of the things that I really enjoy. And it wasn't until much later that I really wanted to try painting on silk. So I have no formal training. I am self-taught, trial and error, learned before YouTube was even created. And I paint. I paint with acrylics. I make lace. I do all kinds of things. But for me, my mea punahele is painting on silk. So all of my work is inspired by hula. It's inspired by the environment, and oftentimes it's lines and chants or mele or just connection with places. So native plants, of course, and the health of the forest is vital to hula. And the divine in the environment and the divine in the kinolau, or the nature forms or the body forms of all of the deities that are important in traditional hula practices is really, really important to me. So what we see on the screen is a silk scarf piece that features the ie. And I love dabbling around with different French dyes. I mix my own colors. I experiment a lot. And these pieces all have to be steam set. So the process to create them takes hours upon hours. I stretch the silk on these large frames, and then I might meditate or just stay quiet, and then I just freehand draw the base design using a water-based resist. And then once that is dry, I go back with a paintbrush, and my favorite paintbrushes are really, really tiny, and I dip my brush in the dyes, and I start painting the canvas of silk, which all starts completely white. This is a small little collection of silk scarves that feature the ava and different elemental forms. So it's not just plants in the forest, but it has to do with the elements, the kinolau, the ho'ailona, whether it's a storm. Sometimes I'm inspired by storms or different appearances of nature portents in the environment, and sometimes issues as well. So I don't have right now. I'm starting up a new collection of pieces that feature the ohi alehua, which was really triggered with a sense of urgency by rapid ohia death. So for me, there's a kapu. I don't gather any part of the ohi alehua tree until rod is resolved. And in the meantime, this is how I wear my ohi alehua.
Beautiful. Mahalo for sharing. I was so fascinated as to how you create on silk, of all things.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to me.
Thank you.
And it's beautiful to share, I myself as a dancer, and to understand, the different kinolau, the different kauna that come with different plants, the mo'olelo attached to them. For example, I love pala'a because hi'iaka. And whenever I feel down, I wear a manaola that's supposed to represent, lightning. So I'm like, okay, I need some hi'iaka around me today.
Of course.
And it's powerful to wear things that we create, that we love, that have all that energy. So mahalo for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. And we've been closed come next month a whole year since COVID. Even Halal totally transitioned to all virtual classes. I really, really look forward soon. We had hoped to be open by the holidays, but I'm not in a rush. I just want to make sure that we're safe and everything's all pono and good. So there's online. We're doing a couple of pop-ups and craft fairs and artist fairs, and I'm already starting now to prepare for Mary Monarch. So I go as an invited guest every year, and so it's a painstaking process. I love it. It's meditative for me. The hula is based out of Studio Ha'a, but it's also my creative space when I'm not teaching hula. I'm researching, I'm creating, we do classes. There's all sorts of different opportunities to learn and create. And so I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Yes, of course. Mary Monarch, you got to prepare from like as soon as you finish one Mary Monarch, you got to be prepared for the next one already.
Exactly. Sleepless nights.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you for sharing. And as you
Thank you,
said,
Hayden.
you mentioned possible craft fairs. So do you have any coming up soon?
We're at Waipa next weekend, and yeah, that's the soonest. Hopefully, yeah, whatever the weather's gonna do, the weather's gonna choose, and so, you know, we're totally not in charge, and that is okay too.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we hope to come and see you. I'll be working
Yeah.
remotely, so I'll come by afterwards.
Awesome.
But
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Mahalo again for sharing that with us. And it's so
Thank
beautiful to
you.
see that. It's very unique
Thank you. Thank you
form of
so
art.
much. Thank
And
you.
then last but definitely not least, we'd like to turn our attention to Kavika Beats of Aina Inspired. And I must say, I have followed you guys for quite a long time, so it's beautiful to like put a face to the business that I have admired from afar. Um, and yeah,
Thank you
so
so very
just
much.
yeah, great. Okay, we got audio working. So Kavika and your wife Jen as well, they've been working and growing native plants for 20 plus years here on Kauai. And we did talk a little bit earlier this week about how we care so much about our Aina, how we care about sharing the beauty of it through art and just the inspirational work that happens in conservation. So if you would like to share with us, what has inspired you to create the products that you do and to start Aina Inspired on top of growing native plants?
Well, growing native plants all these years has uh, come out of the dire need to preserve the ecosystem and to perpetuate these unique species that are only from these either micro or macro climates around Hawaii. Kauai has so many of its own unique species that has become um, primary focus to be able to uh, bring them into cultivation and give them another home aside from the forest for them to thrive in. Many of the species are happy to grow in cultivation, and just having ohia or koa or the ferns right outside your door provides endless inspiration on the daily basis. And seeing them on school campuses and in our public celebrated in our public plantings is just such a joy. That's become my primary focus is to um, I've moved away from forest conservation and focused primarily on growing them in cultivation for our communities.
Beautiful,
And
yes.
the artwork actually sort of just happened on its own. I also am very interested in woodworking, and I just started to carve a few wood blocks. And before I knew it, I was printing hats and fabrics, and it's been a real organic evolution, I suppose.
Beautiful, mahalo. We're looking at some of the shirts that you also sell, which are beautiful. Um, and I love them so much. And it's interesting to say wood blocks because I would think carving a wood block would actually be really difficult. I know that Holly uses linoleum and she usually uses a
Yeah,
carving tool like that. Have you experimented with that as well?
I have. There's pros and cons to lino. It definitely is easier to cut, but it's more difficult to get really clean, hard edges with. And I just love the wood. Like I just want to work with the wood, and because of it being a natural material, and I've experimented with different woods, but cedar and basswood are the easiest to work with, and also having a very nice set of knives really helps a lot. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I think we can definitely connect on admiring different characteristics of different kinds of wood, for sure.
Indeed. I'm fascinated by that. I hope to get lots more experience with all the different unique woods of native or otherwise. They're all very distinct, just like the plants themselves.
Definitely. I can definitely attest to that as far as my hair picks as well. They all have a very different character based on their wood.
Mhm.
And I just have to ask, what is the most inspiring or the most fulfilling part of, sharing your artwork with the community? I know you mentioned seeing the plants out in the community, but also seeing some of your art. What's the most fulfilling part for you and Jen to do these markets and to share your mana'o with the community?
Well, the community is perhaps that most fulfilling part. I spend most of my days in gardens and with plants and connecting with the community and hopefully sharing inspiration and continuing this important conversation of conservation and preservation work. It's all extremely fulfilling. I'm so grateful and honored to be in this community, and it's just very fulfilling to have something to share and a way to interact on in a personal level with so many people, and truly humbled and honored.
Great, mahalo. And I guess one personal question for me would be, do you have any designs that are your particular favorite?
Well, the Ohia Lehua has become such an important subject for everyone because it's the host of the forest, like, like a mother of the forest, and with the rapid Ohia death, I know that everyone's very concerned about the health of the Ohia Lehua forests, and it already had really such an iconic presence, but I'd say, it's most likely the most prevalent native Hawaiian species in all the islands, and so to lose sort of the the keystone tree of the forest would be just devastating. Really, every other aspect of the forest relies on the Ohia Lehua. So I also I also have to say that I think that's the most important image or subject that we're working with lately. And I also uh, I also really love there's a image that I created early on, which is the shape of Kauai with the kalo plant in the center, and I just also I am very fond of that. It was just I got lucky, I guess, that I made a good design, because once you start carving the wood, it's very easy to mess up, and they don't always come out well.
Yep, yep, definitely. I have to do double drafts on a lot of my pieces of wood because once you burn it, it's there. Mahalo again, Kavika. Thank you for joining us. And I know there's a lot of craft fairs going on, and I know you just did the Waipaw market with Holly. Are you folks going to be doing any more markets, or where can people go on besides Etsy if they're on Kauai and they'd like to come and talk story about your work?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we will be also at Waipaw again on the 18th. And then on Sunday, we're going to be at Anaina Ho. I forget the hours. I believe 2 to 6. There's a artist fair there. And I also welcome people to come to our home and view our works. That's where all the native plants that I grow are. And we have a garden full of native trees and beauties, um, and then there are a few stores around Kapa'a and perhaps soon to be in Hanapepe, where our hats and such can be seen, and a lot of that information is on our Instagram page, which is Aina _inspired
in the chat.
and Thank you much. Yes.
Yeah, mahalo again. And if you folks are still tuned in with us, or if you're on Facebook, we will also be sending out a holiday newsletter with a little blurb on each of the artists that joined us tonight, where you can find them, their websites, their links, all of those things. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the Kwa Invasive Species website. It'll prompt you to sign up for the newsletter, and I promise I will not send you 1,000 in a year. It's just me. So mahalo again for joining us, everybody. This was such a beautiful talk, especially to show our community the beautiful artists that we have here, where they can go and purchase things. And yeah, do we have any other questions or any follow-up questions that anyone would like to ask before we close out?
There's no questions that I've seen on Facebook. Sorry, yes, go ahead, Kavika.
Oh no, sorry. I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Mahalo.
We thank all of you. That was really inspiring to listen to all of you and hear from you what inspires you. It was really great for me to hear that. So thank you very much for sharing that. What I would like to add is an outlook for what we're going to do next year, because we have already one episode planned for next year of Forest Fridays, which is going to highlight and showcase our young generation of conservationists here on Kauai. We would like to give each of them, like the Kupu interns and the young scientists that are here, we would like to give them an opportunity to share what they are doing, what work they're doing right now here on Kauai, but also what they would like to see happening in the future. And I think that's really important to hear from them, what they want to do and how they want to protect the Aina and help us in conserving the beauty we have around us. So that's for next year.
Yes. And then we're going to do a Mentimeter as well.
Yes, I can share that.
All right. And then before we leave, before everyone logs off, we were going to do this Mentimeter real quick to talk about what inspires us in the forest, and we can see all of our answers.